Hey, brother! Then, we're in the Endgame now. By which I mean, holy butts, Avengers Endgame is this weekend! Possibly the most anticipated movie ever? 21 movies in the making, and this is 22. I mean, trilogies are great, but how often do you get a duoviniditology? I think that's right. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but that's just because I don't think it's ever existed before. But after 11 years, we are finally seeing it come to an end. Sort of. What I mean is the Infinity Saga is going to end, but obviously they're still going to make movies in the MCU. But from here on out, it's going to be post-Thanos, which means we're going to need a new big bad for our heroes to rally together and defeat. But the question is, who? Because with 22 movies under our belt so far, we have covered a lot of Marvel's rogue gallery, but there are still a few big hitters who have yet to arrive on the scene. So today, we're going over our top candidates for Marvel's next big bad. Where do you go from Thanos, from the Infinity Gauntlet? I mean, so far, he has been a really compelling villain, and he's not even really in it for himself. He's in it for the betterment of the galaxy. But regardless, I think his entire storyline will be very neatly wrapped up by the end of Endgame. That the stones will be either destroyed or tucked away somewhere, no longer available as a plot device for the characters, that Thanos will be either dead or protecting the stones wherever he needs to be so that the story can move on. But coming up with a villain who's more powerful than a guy who controlled the 6 elements of existence itself is kind of a tall order. What could be more powerful than that? Well, how about the people, or beings who created the Infinity Stones? The origin of the stones themselves is a bit of a mystery. We hear from Wong and the Collector that the Big Bang scattered them across the universe, but not how they were created. And yet, that information actually is available, and we even know a little bit about the beings known as the cosmic entities who created them. Actually, you even get a few glimpses of them in Guardians of the Galaxy, right here in the Collector's Vault, and right here when Quill is collecting the orb. There are 4 of them: Eternity, Infinity, Entropy, and Death. Guess who's the bad one? That's right, it's Death and Entropy. There's really like 2 good ones and 2 bad ones. They sort of balance each other out. Actually, according to the Art of the Guardians of the Galaxy guidebook, Infinity represents all space in the universe. Infinity and Eternity are in constant competition with Death, who attempts to reduce life, while Infinity and Eternity expand life. But do you know what might suddenly uneven those odds in that struggle? Like, how about if, I don't know, maybe half the universe just died all at once? At the very least, that has to give Death like a +1 to all magic skills for a few seconds, right? It would be a kind of fun way to continue the story. I mean, Thanos would be defeated, but his one great act would have supercharged an even more powerful enemy to come after. An enemy who laughs at the power of the stones because she helped create them. Not to mention, Thanos and Death already have a pretty big history together in the comics that they've even alluded to in the movies.
To challenge them is to court death.
And honestly, who's to say he's not courting Death? Maybe in a less romantic way than you see in the comics, but more in a just trying to summon her kind of way. If you want to say Death and Entropy are on the same side, well, let me just read you the definition of entropy. A thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work. Or in layman's terms,
Too many mouths, not enough to go around.
do you think if his whole galaxy conquest thing didn't work out, Thanos had a backup plan as a physics professor? But wouldn't it be crazy if Endgame isn't referring to how the Avengers will beat him, but how his Endgame will play out with the summoning of Death? I like the sound of that. But moving on, the next candidate on our list is another galactic-sized threat, fittingly named Galactus. Do you remember that giant space cloud thing that was going to eat the Earth in Fantastic Four 2? Yeah, no, good, me neither, because it was the worst and the stupidest on-screen representation of Galactus I've ever seen. Galactus, as you may be aware, is in fact not a giant cloud and is in fact a giant purple space dude who eats planets and looks like this. Yeah. Way cooler, and seems to fit a similar role as Thanos in terms of power and destructive capability. and purpleness. Similar to the 4 cosmic entities we just mentioned, Galactus is said to have existed before the Big Bang. He is a living force of nature and is supposed to be correcting the imbalances between the entities of death and eternity. Funny how those guys keep turning up, eh? But again, it's a great situation where the snap could have somehow garnered his attention. Half the universe died? That does seem like it needs correcting. Or better yet, half the universe was revived? Ugh, that doesn't seem natural. That definitely needs correcting. Which planet is responsible for this? Yeah, I love Galactus as the next big threat to the MCU because he even supplies a way to replace the Infinity Stones with his own source of power, known as the Power Cosmic. The Power Cosmic is Galactus' source of energy, and it allows him to do anything? Universal cosmic awareness, telepathy, telekinesis, energy projection, transmutation of matter, interdimensional portals, manipulating souls. That sounds familiar. And the list of powers just goes on, but I think we can all agree that it sounds like rather than needing to collect all of the stones, he just has all those powers. And bonus, he can transfer a small portion of those powers to a herald to prepare a planet for his consumption. The most well-known of these heralds is, of course, the Silver Surfer, but wow, what a great way to continuously introduce new supervillains into the MCU. Like, obviously not every MCU movie is about Thanos, but if you want a way for everyone to still be connected, guess what? There's so many heralds. Kind of reminds me of the relationship between Thanos and Loki.
He sent Loki, the attack on New York. That's him.
And what's even crazier is that with just a bit of retconning, it's possible we could have already seen one of these heralds where the Collector is explaining the stones to the Guardians. See, Galactus, who again, and I cannot stress this enough, is not known for being a cloud, is known for wearing this crazy silly purple hat thing. And oh me, oh my, does this guy's glowing purple staff thing look a lot like someone else's silly purple hat thing. Power Stone or Power Cosmic? I don't know. Really, both seem reasonable if they decide to go in this direction. Furthering the argument for Galactus is the out-of-universe reason that Disney just bought Fox Entertainment, and so you'd think the Fantastic Four and the X-Men will be entering the MCU eventually. Hard to say when. But for as far as Galactus is concerned, he is a big enemy of the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. So who better to unite all 3 groups? Actually, there still might be somebody else. Victor Von freaking Doom, aka Dr. Doom. Okay, so while it's very tempting to try and one-up Thanos and create yet another pre-galactic entity of untold cosmic power, that's not very relatable. Because at that level, you're just dealing with either straight up power or else very high concept kinds of conflict. Dr. Doom, on the other hand, starts out as just a regular man, but by the end is more powerful, arguably, than Thanos himself, and maintains a sense of honor, strategy, and intelligence. If you're unfamiliar with the character, his list of powers also goes on for nearly forever, but essentially he is second in magic only to Doctor Strange. His suit of armor is nearly invincible. He might be even more tech savvy than Tony Stark, and he's pretty much as strong as Thor in terms of being able to fight the Hulk. So in essence, he's kind of like a combination of Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Thor all in one, which is saying something because if you go back to Infinity War, those are the 3 characters who had the most successful one-on-one interactions with Thanos. Doctor Strange at least earned his respect.
You're full of tricks, wizard.
And Tony and Thor both managed to physically injure him.
All that for a drop of blood.
Thor admittedly a lot more so. Not to mention, Doom is also the dictator of his own country, Latveria, and he also has an entire army of Doombots. And let's face it, we all know no Avengers movie is complete without an army of goons or robots for the Avengers to just mow down. On top of all that, he also kind of reminds me a lot of Loki, by which I mean he isn't always a bad guy. Does he want to rule the world? Yes. Are his methods questionable? Definitely. Can you trust him? Absolutely not. But his intentions are actually still considered pure. In fact, the Panther god of Wakanda even once judged his soul to be pure, which maybe says more about the Panther god than Dr. Doom, but the point is, he does genuinely want a utopia for the people of Earth. He's just willing to go to any ends to accomplish that, and he also wants to rule over it. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. He'll probably trick Thor and be everyone's favorite character. But again, stepping out of universe a little, the real bid for Dr. Doom to be the big bad is that if you introduce the Fantastic Four, you also must introduce Dr. Doom. You can't have one without the other. Their stories are just too integral. It'd be like having Spider-Man without Norman Osborn, or wait. Either way, once he's there, you can't ignore his power, history, or popularity. He is going to be a big deal. Not that anyone wants to ignore him though. I mean, even the Russo brothers, when they were asked who they wanted to see in the MCU, their first answer,
Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Ben, today I have two questions for you and everybody else. First, who do you think the next big bad in the MCU will be? And second, if you could cast anybody for the Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom, who would they be? Let me know your thoughts in the towel section down below. Personally, my vote is for Jason Isaacs for Dr. Doom. Also, I'd be happy to play the Human Torch myself. How do I apply for that? I could work out. I could do it. Does this count? Is this my bid? Okay. I accept. Want to make sure you're nice and alert for Endgame this weekend? Make sure you get some Carlin Brothers coffee so you don't miss a single bit of the action. Available now at carlinbrotherscoffee.com. Guys, thanks so much as always for watching today's video. Please leave a like on it if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Marvel action from us. If you want to see which Infinity Stone each Avenger is, you can check out this video right here. Or if you want to see which Infinity Stone is the most powerful, you can check out this video right here. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. I will see you in another life.